Welcome back, YouTube. It's Jay Roebuck, and today we're going to discuss an announcement. Elliot Wilson and the Bigger Picture, which was his show or podcast with DJ Hed and Jeremy Hecht, is officially over. They announced that the next show will be their last show. So in this video, I'll discuss why I believe it ended, what it means for the industry as a whole, and I'll talk about the difference between a business model where you are independent versus licensing and which one I believe is better. If you like my videos, if you hate my videos, if you like to debate me, make sure you like, comment, share the video, and tell a friend about the channel. I'm always welcome to new people to hear their ideas, to hear their thoughts about the things that I present, and I'm always willing to engage as long as it's in a respectful way. So I won't hold you any longer. Let's get right into it. First, let me preface all the comments I will make in this video. I appreciate what the three of them have done for the hip hop media space, even though we tend to be in disagreement when it comes to many topics, specifically over the last 2 years. But it's great to have competing voices in hip hop. You don't want everyone to agree with you. You don't want everyone to disagree with you. It's always great to have a happy medium. Although lately in hip hop media, things have been very one-sided in regards to Kendrick and Drake. Outside of those takes, I feel there is some sort of balance. So with respect to those three gentlemen, I appreciate what you guys have contributed to the hip hop media space, to the YouTube space, to the podcast space. So that's what I would like to say. So thank you for your work. And as Jeremy said, it's not the end of the three of them. So maybe they will have their own independent show. Maybe it will take a different form or medium. We will see. So what do I think that this means? Number one, I think it means that money is drying up and it's hard to do this, right? They're connected to Hip Hop DX. So I assume they were operating under a licensing deal where they would license the show to them and that they would receive probably a monthly or a yearly salary. That's what I believe, and I could be wrong because the details of their deals are not public. But what it tells me is maybe they weren't hitting the mark. If you look at the numbers on YouTube over the past couple of months, 25 to 45 to 50,000 views, is that enough to keep a show with high production afloat, where they have guests, where they have a lot of overhead? I don't know, right? YouTube fluctuates with numbers. It fluctuates with RPM. So if a company is looking at the back end and the bottom line, they may say, is it worth paying this money out if they aren't producing a large number of views? Now, this is not just singular to them. A lot of large YouTubers or people in the hip hop media space don't get that many views outside of the large topics. That's why someone like me, or, I'm a very small creator, but people who are with 100,000 or 200,000 subscribers who do everything from home are able to garner a lot of revenue because there's no overhead. There's a camera, there's a mic, and then you get the cash back. So all you're really putting in is time versus a company that does high level production. You're putting in time, resources, and money. Now, when it comes to the numbers, I will always say this about all the people who have spent so much time hating on everything that Drake does. If you look at most of these content creators on YouTube, and this is not specific to the Bigger Picture, I'm just making a statement because it's just factual. The biggest views come from videos that are about the Drake and Kendrick beef and videos that are about Drake. So if you don't create content outside of that, how are you going to survive? And again, this is for creators across all socials. This is not specifically about them. But this is why I continue to preach. Why do you spend so much time hating on someone? That can't last forever. That's why it's better to spend time talking about artists that you appreciate and talking about things for the love rather than the hate. Hate can only carry you so far, and one artist can only carry you so far. And I'm trying to work on diversifying my content as well. But if people come to me for Drake news, I'm going to supply it. And I feel much more comfortable talking about good things or seeing things in a good light or framing things in a positive way than just spending time talking about bad things and negative and just hating on a person. So look at the biggest YouTube spaces in the hip hop media and look at the views that are attached to the content names and to the thumbnails. It's very clear the biggest draw in hip hop is still Drake. Say what you want about Joe Budden, but they are the model. Joe Budden and Ian Schwartzman, who have navigated the Joe Budden podcast when it originally started with Rory many, many, many moons ago, have seen an iteration from independent to the licensing deal with Spotify to now independent and really making money through the model of direct to consumer, building a community, and they're really making the bulk of their money. I'm going to make an educated assumption through Patreon, where they have built a business model where they are supplying the audience with something unique that they cannot replicate, that others can't replicate, and something that is unique only to them. That is their IP. Their IP are the voices, okay? The Joe Budden Network itself, I think, is still developing and trying to work out the kinks. But in terms of the main show and the podcast, there's no one bigger in hip hop media than Joe Budden. There's no independent media person bigger than Joe Budden in this space. The only people I could say rival that are the Joe Rogan Experience, right? And maybe Call Her Daddy, but I don't even think they're 100% independent. Those are the only two people who can rival him because he's built a business. It's not just a podcast. It's not just going in front of the mic and talking. They have built a full business model where they have live experiences, they have merch, they have a number of other shows behind the scenes. It is a full-on entertainment company. So feel how you want about him. But if you're looking at this just through the business lens, you must tip your cap to Joe Budden and Ian Schwartzman. This was also not the only podcast that was canceled or ended this week. Savon and Alex, who work with the Joe Budden podcast, their show, the Need to Know podcast, is officially over as well. And they say that they may come back in some capacity, but it just shows that things are shifting in the landscape. It is hard to do this, especially if it's not your full-time gig. It takes time and it takes effort. So if you're not able to really put all the effort into this and you're working with other people and you have overhead, it can become mentally taxing and also economically taxing as well, because you may not have the money or even want to shell out the money to make this a full-term business. So if you're taking this seriously, you really got to go all in and push your chips in and bet on yourself, which is very difficult to do in today's economy. So what do I think is next for Elliot Wilson specifically? I think Elliot's voice is valuable, and I don't think he's the type to just ride off into the sun and say it's over. He works too hard. He's put too many years in. I could see a few things happening. Maybe him and B Dot, reunite to bring back Rap Radar. They seem to have pieced things up. They did an interview together. I think that's on the table. He may also try to go fully independent, but I don't see that happening. I think at this point in his career, he's going to chase a bag. So maybe another media source may come after him and offer him money to put out a show once a week. Because I think that as many people as hate on him in public, they also still listen. And that's the thing. When you make content, people can like it, they can hate it, or they can love it. But what's most important is that they feel something when you put something out into the world. And that's why I don't mind people who come into my comments and hate or say things over and over, whatever. You still take the time to view my video, which in turn helps me and it helps fuel the conversation. And no one else other than Elliot, who else other than Elliot likes more conflict in hip hop? He wants to get that competing voice because at the end of the day, he's a competitor. This is also a signal to the old guard, right? So all the people who in the hip hop space are mad that new content creators are coming out and doing things in their own way, Elliot, Ebro, and a lot of others as well. The times may pass you by very quickly and you better adapt, because when you don't adapt and you don't work quick enough, the rug can get pulled under you from any moment. They could say, we're not advertising with you anymore. They could say, we're not funding this anymore. And then what do? You better learn to play by the new rules. As I said before, there are a number of creators on YouTube, on TikTok, on Twitch, on Kick, whatever app, who can do this for basically free. Once you buy the materials that you need to put out the YouTube videos, it doesn't cost you anything. So they can be just as powerful or even more powerful independently and can say whatever they want because they're not tied into some corporate backing and be just as successful. So you better learn to embrace the new school, because look at what just happened. It can all change in a blink of an eye. So these are my thoughts. I think the landscape is definitely shifting. You let me know what you think in the comments. Do you want to see this show return? Do you want to see DJ Hed maybe do something different? He does have the show with Gina. Do you want to see Elliot do something different? Or would you like the three of these guys to somehow work out a new deal and maybe take the platform somewhere else? Let me know what you think in the comments. And as always, share the video, tell a friend to tell a friend, and I'll see you next time. Thank you for watching.